Cynthia here with Halden Gardens, and we're going to learn to grow our seeds indoors today. This is a great way for you to save some money if you want to have like big flats of flowers like I do out my front yard. This is the way I do it. I just plant starting in the winter time, and I also do some of my fall planting indoors as well. I make my starts happen right here in my kitchen. So let's get started. To get started, there are just a few things we need. Good soil, water, light, and a little bit of warmth for those seedlings to get germinating. First, let's start with our soil. I have something nice and soft and fluffy. It's a great germination mix. You don't necessarily need a soil germination seed mix, but it's always nice. But something nice and fluffy that has lots of air pockets is what we're looking for. You can buy that at any nursery or gardening store. Also, make sure you have your seeds ready to go, that you have clean cells is what we call this, or a plastic container that you're going to put your seeds in. If you're recycling them, make sure that you're using a Clorox water solution bleach, that you're going to clean these out and make sure that we kill off any germs or any diseases that it still may have, or any bugs that still may be in here, because that can destroy your seeds. If you're buying them for the first time, great locations are, again, any gardening supply store. Other options are, some people use toilet paper rolls and fold them in, newspapers, they use seed blocking. There's so many ways to do this, but this is the way I prefer because it's quick and easy. Another thing that we want to make sure we have are labels. I can't stress this enough. I've done it so many times where I don't label things, and then I don't know what I'm planting until it sprouts. So make sure you have your labels. I like to personally laminate and tape it on. I find that to be the easiest, but you can also just write it on a popsicle stick and stick it in your plant. And there are so many ways that you can do this. All right, let's get planting. I have my tray cells ready to go. They're all cleaned up. And I'm going to put my seed germination mix. Truth be told, this is much easier to do outside and keeps your house cleaner. But we are going to do it in here today. I'm just going to gently cover. This stuff is so soft and fluffy that we're going to want to make sure we compact it just a bit. Okay, I'm going to compact this just a little bit. All right, now we're ready to get it wet. So this soil will act just like a sponge, and we want to make sure that we wet it down real well. I'll soak it. Sometimes I even fill this bottom tray with water to get it soaked. And then we'll wait for all the cells to absorb the water. All right, now that the cells are nice and saturated, I'm going to drain the rest of this water that's in here because I don't want things to get moldy. And I may do this a couple times while I'm waiting for these to get saturated. All the excess water I will remove. Now that our soil is nice and wet, we are ready to plant. But first, before I plant, I am going to label what I'm planting. We're going to put some pak choi in this cell. I'm going to tape that on. So now I have pak choi ready. And again, remember to read how deep your seeds need to be put in, okay? I'm going to use my pencil. That's what I like to use. to make it just a tiny hole, or however deep I need for the seed to be. I'm going to take my seeds, and I usually like to plant between 2 and 3 seeds per cell just to make sure that you get a good germination. Some seeds, their germination rate might be a little less. And so I like to plant more just to make sure something will come up. Okay, and then I lightly cover, just using my finger. You can also use some fine vermiculite. And I will do that until my tray is full and we are ready to put it under some lights. Now we have all of our seeds planted and ready to go under the lights. Now, a few things to know about lights. You can use any lights. You don't need to get expensive lights. I like to use LED lights. I've also used fluorescent lights. The key is to keep them nice and close to the seeds as they're germinating. So here's my tray. A couple other things you want to remember. It's always nice to have a heat source. A heat source will make those seeds germinate a little faster. Does it need to be hot? I use stick pads. I've also used grow seed pads. But before I put my seeds on these pads, I like to put a towel down just so it's not too hot on my little seeds as they start to germinate. This is not necessary, it's just something I like to do. Now I have my heat source ready. I'm going to turn it on. Right now I'm just using a stick pad. I'm going to take my seeds. I'm going to place them under the light on top of the pad. See how close they are to the light. Probably no more than 6 inches as they start to germinate. After germination, you may need to move the light up depending on how quickly you decide to plant. Now, another thing that I love to do, not necessary, but again, it will spark that germination faster, is I like to get a plastic cover to put on the top to keep the moisture in. This also helps it so that I don't have to keep watering them. Since we've saturated our soil, the seeds are going to be ready to go and I can leave them for a few days as they sit under the light. My plastic cover is going to put it on top, and we're going to let these babies cook. I'll probably check on them every few days until the seeds pop up. As soon as the seeds pop up, we need to make sure that we remove them from the heat and we take the cover off and let them continue to grow.